think about. Death is swept under the carpet in our culture. In the hospital, they try to keep you alive from utter desperation. They won't know the mockery. Well, of course, we've made death howl with all kinds of ghouls. We've invented dreadful afterlives. I mean, the Christian version of heaven is as abominable as the Christian version of hell. Nobody wants to be in church forever. try to keep you alive utter desperation. They won't take the nose, the mucker. Well, of course, we've made death howl with all kinds of ghouls. We've invented dreadful afterlives. I mean, the Christian version of heaven is as abominable as the Christian version of hell. Nobody in church forever. think about. Death is swept under the carpet in the hospital. They try to keep you alive from utter desperation. They won't know the mockery. Well, of course, we've made death howl with all kinds of ghouls. We've invented dreadful afterlife. I mean, the Christian version of heaven is as abominable as the Christian version of hell. Nobody wants to be in church forever.
There it is. Can you turn this down a little?
He says the mics are on. It's just the tiny bunch.
Clint keeps skipping the gym, and he even skipped this show. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we have a lot of absolutely crazy and wild news to get into today, as we have a packed house of some really incredible human beings that will be discussing all the latest news developing right now, as of course there's a lot to get into as Trump is now promising to end the war in Ukraine. There's a lot of crazy statements by Viktor Orban, crazy news coming from Haiti, eye-opening statements with Kushner and Ivanka. What's really going on here? Well, we're going to be discussing that plus a lot more, all for the next 2 hours. So make sure you share this broadcast with your friends and family members, as it's more imperative than ever, especially in today's YouTube algorithm that doesn't really preference real conversations that they deem controversial. And that's why you guys taking part in it and sharing it and getting the word out there is, I think, one of the few things that has allowed us to still be here as an independent media organization. And we can't thank you guys enough for spreading the word, getting the message out there that we are going to be going live for the next 2 hours, and a conversation that, of course, will also involve you guys as members of LukeUnfiltered.com actually get the ability to call into the show and ask us whatever questions you want. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and you get a lot of amazing offers of value, including secretive, sort of secretive, quasi-secretive society-esque like activities, meetups, in real life contests, videos, conversations, forums, you name it. We all got it on LukeUnfiltered.com. And if you are a member, make sure to go to that secret Telegram chat room right now and tell us that you guys want to call in. We, of course, also will be reading super chats, rumble rants, and things on mysuperchat.com, a platform that allows your text to actually show up on screen. A new way to super chat that, of course, only gives a 3% service charge, not a 30% YouTube service charge. So if you want to super chat, we, of course, will absolutely appreciate those. But check out mysuperchat.com, as they absolutely do help us and help you get the conversation started. Joining us for this very interesting conversation is Drew Outstanding. Drew, you've been on this show before, but for the people who don't know you, how would you introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm back for the sequel a few months ago, so I'm back here. Army veteran, learned a lot in the last 3 years under these crazy times that we've had with medical stuff and changing in administrations, and we're going for round 2. So I got a ton to add on a bunch of subjects, culture stuff, and whatever else is going on, and Rumble's always going to be a lot more fun, too.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to wait for like an hour until we could actually tell your story in full. Last time you went into detail of it, but now Trump has some latest comments on Truth Social that I think will be worth examining. But not here on this platform, on another platform which allows free speech. Also joining us for this conversation is the one and only Toby Turner. Toby.
There's another one. He's actually a famous bull rider.
Is he? Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's not as famous.
Well, there's no bulls here, but we definitely have a lot of different controversial topics we're going to be navigating, and traversing and trying to hold on to in this free speech
Sorry
battle.
about the sidetrack already. But I got TobyTurner.com, and I put the best Toby Turner in the world, and I knew he saw it, and he didn't like it.
That's selfish. Like, how do you know?
thought
Maybe he's a good guy.
He's a great guy, but I just said the best. You know, I think he probably didn't like it. You guys don't know this at home, but there's a set of boobs right above his head. Am I allowed to talk about that?
Toby, no, you're not. This is a family-friendly show. Okay,
I said boobs.
They're called bazungas.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, Drew's
they're
handing
not
him.
real human ones. They're animal ones.
Listen,
no.
we got a family-friendly show here, Toby.
It's family
Toby, we got the taser reserved.
I'm sorry.
We got the taser reserved for Clint, but we'll make use of it if we have to. Go
I didn't read this.
Yes.
I didn't read this.
Yes, you did. I gave it to you last night.
You're right. I read
came
it out
in last
loud.
night, and I
I
was
read
like,
it out
here.
loud. Everyone
You
heard.
in the living room, right here. I was like, here,
bazungas
and
was
you're like,
fine.
I can't say blank, 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 blank,
No,
blank.
I didn't do that. I did not do that.
Hey, I got your back.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
This guy. Okay,
Toby,
sorry.
introduce
You
yourself.
Focus. You focus. I'm Toby.
Who are you?
I'm I used to play video games for a job, and that's pretty much my whole life. And I make some comedy music, and I have Heelys. They're not on right now, and that's about all I can think of. What else? What am I allowed to say?
Yeah,
You tell me.
a lot. The Heelys sound like he's walking around in tap shoes everywhere.
Masculine tap suit. It's like a low
no,
pitch.
No,
It's a low pitch.
It's
a high pitch.
It's like
It's
having
like Dorothy.
Yeah, I called him Dorothy.
Yeah, but then I roll past him and everyone's like, wow, he's so slow relative.
Anyway, we got some real news to get into today. As of course, also joining us from this conversation is the one and only Ian Crossland, a man who has said, enough of the Beanie Compound. I am never coming back. I am sick of Mr. Tim Pool. I am done with you. I am going to a better, more funner, more amazing show. And that show is, of course, the best political show. Right, Ian?
I feel like I'm being psychically choked right now. Yeah, Luke, everything you said, man. All of you, baby. I love you, man. Dude, yo, by the way, those Heelys, I was talking to Toby at the grocery store, and he was like, yeah, man, they're great. You should get some. And then he like clicked his heels and rode off into the distance. Something like that.
He
I kind of embellished
literally
the story.
did that. It
And
didn't
he,
look masculine, though.
He got smaller into the
I just
horizon. I was
got
like,
him.
wow, that was like a show.
I
like
just
a
got
TV
him for
show.
this trip. I just got him because I was
And
going
literally, first thing this morning, he's like, I need new shoes.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, you do.
Yeah, I know,
Immediately.
Wow, it sounds like I have a bunch of shoes. I don't. But I only brought Heelys on this trip, and I was like, I need to go jogging. Anyways, but I got whatever. I got the Heelys because going to the airport, and I don't know if I'm not telling you to do this, but you can just go to all the gates so much faster.
Do they help you run on the balls of your feet more?
What?
Like you're supposed to run on the balls
Nobody
of your feet
runs
and not
on
the
any
heel.
balls.
Yeah.
Good
It's
lord.
part of the problem, I think.
No, it makes
Everyone-
you can't run. You'll fall down.
Everyone in the Rumble chat is like, Graphene Man is here. Graphene Man, thank you so much for
It was
coming
my pleasure.
here.
Luke. Thank you for having me.
What is that?
He's going to be here
Oh,
indefinitely
I can tell
now.
you all about it. Graphene.
Oh, no,
I
don't
know-
get him started. Listen,
Yo,
we still got the
graphene's-
news to get into. Hold your horses.
Let me
I kinda
introduce
know
you.
what
Hold
it is,
your
but I was
horses,
gonna
please.
ask. All right.
Stephanie's in the house. I don't know how she feels about Ian living with us forever now.
Oh my gosh, it's great to have guests here, and it's great to be Steph. We are change button pusher. I'm ready to get into the news today. Let's go.
Yeah, it's been a lot. We're all living together, literally, and we're all like trying to like work out and try to not be in each other's way. There's
That
like
was-
one bathroom that everyone has to share. It's a lot.
Good
but,
communication. You got to go before I take a shower. You know, be humanizing. We're being real normal people.
right
It's nice.
before Ian comes in there and drops like poop missiles and
All right. All right.
those are some loud noises there, man.
just
I'm
gotta-
concerned. You need a
gotta let it out.
proctologist, brother.
Yeah.
I met you.
I only say that because I care about you.
Thanks, Luke.
I met you. I've never heard that, but I met you right when the first time you went. It was number one, I think. You said it was. I mean,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know.
I was like, got to
Might
take
have
a
been
piss.
complete
It was
lie.
10 a.m., yeah.
But yeah, that's the first time I met you, and you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Hey, man, I'm
man.
just gonna go to take a
I'm going to take a piss.
p word,
Then you started
not that p
laughing.
word."
Was it
Anyways,
poop? No, I went and peed.
and
It
then
was
you went to
early
sleep
morning
at like
pee.
9 o'clock, and then you were out.
Yeah, last night I went to bed at 9. I gotta see part of the challenge of living
Nice.
with 4 people is you wanna like Luke does his work in the afternoon around 1 o'clock, so the office is shut down from like 1 to 1:30 ish.
Right, and then
So
you
I have a whip. You better not
before.
walk in here. As of course, we got a lot
Yeah.
of news to get into that we still haven't gotten into. As of course, I think one of the biggest stories right now is what's happening in the crypto world as Bitcoin is now $72,116. Going up dramatically in one day, over $2,593.33. Within the last 5 days, it jumped nearly $6,000. Within 1 month, it jumped $24,000, reaching an all-time high as the halving event draws near. The halving. The halving.
That's a very
Halving
elvish
event.
way to say it. Are
Yeah.
you an elf?
No,
Oh, you're Polish.
but there's
He's
there-
Polish.
I think it's the same thing.
They had these like candies that were called halves that were pretty good. So I kind of I mixed and matched them there. But holy frickin' cow! How many internet nerds are rich now? How many internet nerds are punching themselves in the face right now? As of course. This I think this would have been a perfect conversation for Clint, by the way, who, by the way, is taking a nap. Thanks,
up
Clint.
there
Really appreciate
sleeping
that.
right
Solid one there.
Take care, Clint.
Yeah.
Not Eastwood either.
No.
Far from it.
No, not Eastwood as
Not
well.
even close.
But,
doesn't
but,
sleep.
but this is major news, and I think it's major news mainly because of very serious concerns and issues with the U.S. economy, with the U.S. debt, with larger questions about the U.S. purchasing power of the dollar, the petrodollar, and U.S. hegemony. And I think this is why, as well as the halving, as well as these larger kind of alternatives to the U.S. dollars that are propping up there, why Bitcoin is at an all-time high. What do you make? What do you guys make of everything that's happening right now?
Oh, quick with the Bitcoin. I mean, I'm sure many of us have these stories from like 2010, 2011. I was working as a security director at the time. I had a security officer. He'd talk about the craziest stuff. He was the first one to show me onto like metal cups rather than plastic and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, Bitcoin, it's going to change it. Basically everything Luke has been saying for years. And I'm like, all right, whatever, sounds good. I'm like in student loan debt of like $40,000, all that stuff, but I needed a car. So I go get a loan for like $10,000. And I'm like, I could do it on Bitcoin. It was like a couple dollars at the time. So, well, I don't know what that would be, 10,000 times whatever it's at, 70,000 now.
And you did.
Yeah. I don't show it, do I? I'm very stealth.
Humble.
Well,
Everybody.
that's the way to go.
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay.
And learn my lesson.
You would have,
I
what
didn't
would that
learn
be?
that.
5,000 times 70,000, like 300,
like
3.5
9/11 times
million?
1,000.
I don't know what the math
Yeah,
is.
basically instead of paying back student loans, I should have just got Bitcoin in 2011, and it's been fine.
My philosophy is it's never too late. I'm not a financial analyst, but I think like
Or a philosopher.
yeah, or I'm not even a philosopher.
Yeah, yes, guys, you heard that right now. All-time high, going all in now. Every last penny, every retirement, everything, every asset you have right now, going full bullish.
But that's a good question,
Favors the bold, guys. And,
think
no,
everyone's-
I'm joking. I'm facetious. Please do not take that advice. That's
Luke,
just
I think
my
we're
2
all
cents.
wondering, people are wondering what to do with their money because the federal interest rates are still very high. They keep talking about bringing them down every couple of quarters or they're meeting or whatever like that. But they're like, maybe not yet. Maybe a couple times in 2024. The Jerome Powell, if you're familiar with him. And that has an impact on real estate, which is keeping those rates high. So people don't want to move low inventory because nobody wants to get rid of their 3%, 4%. And so everything is stagnant right now. Money markets are like 5%. I'm not an expert. I just know what I'm look into and just constantly look at. But
I just looked
it
at-
sounds like money is just standing still. It's supposed to be like moving around.
Well, what
it's
I
called
think-
currency,
yeah.
and it's not being current.
Yeah,
right now.
and I think what's really going on is that the federal government and the Biden administration are intervening as much as they can because they know financially a lot of people are going through a lot of pain and suffering. And I think after this election cycle, things are really going to hit the fan. I think really we're going to be seeing the larger
in a
effects
good
of
way.
this. I don't know about that, Toby. I don't think so, Toby. I think our economic outlook isn't as favorable as the $34 trillion that we're in debt in, and just all the larger Ponzi schemes and all the other. Because I see some people in the chat room being like, "Bitcoin's a Ponzi, Bitcoin's a scam." I'm like, have you ever heard about the Federal Reserve banking system? Have you ever heard about the taxing system? Have you ever talked about just the larger scams that a lot of these Wall Street firms are doing every single day, essentially creating money out of thin air, enriching themselves while you have to work for however money you're working for per hour, finding it difficult to even buy groceries. So I think it's fair to say the economic outlook is not good because of all the theft, robbery, and just shenanigans that happen in our financial system. And this is why people are looking at cryptocurrencies and saying, they're running larger scams on us. At least we have this scam by ourselves here. And I think that's how a lot of people see it.
Well, Ian, you talk about BlackRock, State Street, all those. They have been, buying up all this stuff. So they're buying up the property in the last couple of years instead of them doing it. And then the passive. So passive investors are, you put money in your 401k or IRA, stuff like that. You want to just sit there, but then that's going into the DEI, the ESG, and then all that's being done without the investors really know what's going on. Passive investing, I hear that is a
Now I've been talking about Bitcoin for a very long time. Max Kaiser was telling me about it when it
I'm
was still a
sick
few
of hearing
cents.
about it.
And I was telling Max Kaiser to leave me and his nerd money alone. I was like, I don't care about this stuff. I got globalists to confront. I got Bilderbergs to go to. And he was like, no, but Luke, no, you got to take a look. And I'm like, no, I don't want to talk. Max, stop it. I regret doing that. But then shortly afterwards, I saw this as a new kind of technological advancement that was kind of inevitable. I saw it as something that decentralized a lot of very important key institutions in our society that needed to be decentralized. And I saw the technology for what it was, something that won't be going away, only will be innovated, only will be growing. And when you look at the kind of math behind it, this was something that I was telling my viewers about for a very long time. I was always careful, even when Bitcoin was a few bucks or a few $100. I always said, hey, New technology, always, if you're going to invest, always invest what you're willing to lose, but only invest what you want to comfortably do yourself. Don't believe anyone, because Bitcoin, again, goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. And if you invest at the top,
You might,
you're going to lose out on a lot of money. And I've known people, I remember I went on a Tinder date in New York City. And we only did one date.
This guy.
And I was talking to this lady, and she was like, yeah, I'm maxing out all my credit cards. I'm buying all Bitcoin. And I'm like, that could be a brilliant strategy or it could be a bad strategy. This was when Bitcoin was about 12,000. Afterwards, it went down to 8. And if she had credit card debt to pay, she wasn't able to pay off that credit card debt. And I was like, this is extremely risky. But these are the kind of decisions that a lot of young people are making in our society right now because of how unfair everything is. You look at the major financial institutions, the JP Morgans, the State Streets, the BlackRocks, they have essentially, along with the U.S. Federal Reserve, destroyed any kind of financial freedom for the average human being. You see the memes, you see what people were able to afford beforehand, you see what we're paying for now, especially when it comes to the cost of living. You see the immigration crisis make housing more costly, make jobs less cheaper for of course, the people who hire the labor to do the jobs. And all of these financial constraints are really putting a lot of young people in very difficult situations that the generations before them never had to face. So I think this is one reason why I do see Bitcoin going up. But I think the president of the United States is going to be also deciding its future. If it's going to be a Biden presidency, which I think it will actually be, I think they're going to be doing everything in their power to try to tax, regulate it, as already they have implemented so many stupid regulations that hurt the free market, that hurt Bitcoin here in the Western world. And I think if the Democrats stay in power, they're going to be doing everything in their power to try to destroy it. But if the Republicans get into power, they're promising something different. Will they deliver? I don't know. But Donald Trump is coming out and saying that he would not crack down on Bitcoin. And he talks about how essentially he doesn't own any Bitcoin himself, but he wouldn't stand in the way of this new technology, of this new innovation. And to me, that's awesome. That's absolutely freaking amazing.
Do you believe that?
I had an accountant one time, and the accountant, this guy, he's a nice guy, right? But he was like, you would make more money shoveling your money into a fireplace than buying any Bitcoin. And so I did that, and he was wrong. He was way, way wrong.
You shoveled all that money into the fire?
Not all.
How much of it?
Oh, yeah. Let's not get into Let's not get into decimals.
You
It
should
wasn't
call him
profitable as
right
you thought,
now.
though.
You should call your accountant right now and be like, hey, it's at an all-time high, buddy. Do you remember that?
I've done that so many times. That guy has to be blocked.
It is annoying how people speak
Which
with
is rough for
authority.
tax.
I'll
Which
give you
is
my
rough during tax
phone.
season.
I'll give you my phone.
No, I'm just
Let's give him a call.
different guy. But anyways.
It's part of like the challenge of navigating this economic system is people will talk with authority. They'll be like, this is the way. That has no value. And
This
it's
was
like,
a long time ago, but yeah, I mean, it's like, how would you know that some imaginary, wonderful thing would be worth, anything at all? But it is, and you were all wrong unless you bought some. Actually, one of my best friends, he was like, "Trust me, just buy like 1,000 for." It was like a $5 thing, maybe, or maybe it was less than $5. Was it ever less than? It must have been.
Yes, it was,
It
yeah.
might have been like $1. He just put 1,000. I'm like, I'm making real money. Why would I take that and then buy that? And he was like, just do it. And I was like, no. And so I did it. And then he also didn't. And anyways, that's that story.
So Donald Trump also had some very interesting statements. When he was specifically talking about his new line of sneakers, he said, quote, "I noticed that so many of them were paid for with this new currency." Of course, speaking about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, I think is more advantageous towards more individuals who like to take risks, individuals who, of course, are more willing to be on the right. And I think that's one reason why people on the left, like Elizabeth Warren, really do not like it, even though she kind of champions herself as this kind of anti-banking person. But the one technology that threatens the banks, the one technology that actually uplifted people from poverty, I think more than anything else, more comparably even to potentially even OF, which we can't talk about here on this particular broadcast.
What is that?
OF?
What does that stand for?
You're a very innocent man.
What does it stand for?
We'll tell you on
I'll tell you
Rumble.
when you- when you're
We'll
older.
tell you when you're mature enough to hear
Like an
the
hour
truth
older.
about
Does it
about
involve
that.
that thing
either
that's
way with-
above you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Either way
yes,
with
yes,
Bitcoin.
yes,
Oh my
yes.
goodness.
It involves the monetization of the female physical specimen and the body for the dinar.
Luke, I think either party, they're gonna try to tax, fee, fine, create things out of it. Like if it's gonna still exist, they're gonna get whatever money they can. I know taxes in the last 5 years, they start asking more questions. Did you buy any Bitcoin? Did you sell any? I pay attention to way too many things, I guess. But yeah, so I think it's just gonna be. I've been catching up on the show Deadwood earlier.
yeah.
And
What?
amazing show.
That was a good show.
Yeah, I watched it when it came out with my
yeah.
dad. I was younger, and now I'm rewatching on Max, on HBO Max, and it's like the words that they drop and just the things they do on that show. But it was a town that just started out of nowhere because of gold. So similar to Bitcoin, came out of nowhere,
Interesting.
created industries. People went there because there were no laws, and then slowly the politicians started to come in and. Then we
Disgusting.
have the country we have now.
Yes. Well, if you look at El Salvador, if you look at
Love
what's
that
happening
place.
also in Argentina,
Met a lot of those people actually recently.
It's showing a lot of promise. It's showing a lot of opportunities that weren't there before. As of course, the El Salvadorian government literally gave out Bitcoin to its citizens. Those citizens, if they haven't sold it, are probably really happy right now. They're probably not impoverished like they previously were beforehand, with some very horrible, reckless policies that the previous presidents of those countries were implementing on the local population there. That essentially were kind of selling it down the river. Now we're seeing a kind of renaissance, and with countries adopting Bitcoin as their currency, with Argentina most likely probably even doing the same. I think this highlights something that's going to be here with us for a while. And I've been hearing this from the corporate media all the time. Oh, Bitcoin, it's a fad. It's like a Tamagotchi. It's like a yo-yo. It's going to come and go. No, it's a technology. It's an innovation
technology.
that has a way of changing everything, especially when it comes to our financial system. And some people are saying, oh, it's a red herring. Ian, you have a lot of history working with cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins, but a lot of people do see this as a way of liberation. They do see this as a way of being free. They call it the orange pill. Are you orange pilled, Ian?
I am, yeah. And you mentioned risk. A lot of it is risk, like whether you have U.S. dollars or crypto as your currency. The crypto thing is very risky because if you send it to the wrong address, it disappears forever. If you lose your access to your wallet, it's gone forever. Whereas with the bank, Wells Fargo or whatever bank,
They just take your money right away,
Well,
and they divvy out to all their friends,
well-
and then you try to go to the bank and collect it, and they're like, "No, sorry, buddy, we don't got it
That's
here."
what happens
Good luck.
in real life. But what's supposed to happen is your money's secured with like FDIC
FDIC.
insurance. So if something goes down, if there's a robbery, if something happens, they'll make sure you don't lose your money. But the problem is, you see what happened to truckers in Canada. They just turned their bank accounts to zero. So there is risk involved in holding all your assets in USD.
And they were never able to stop Bitcoin, but they were able to stop addresses from being listed through different exchanges, and by putting pressure on the exchanges. But people still could, of course, donate peer to peer without the government's kind of intervention.
What do you think about the tying gold to Bitcoin? Is it a thing that people are talking about? Because I mean, someone mentioned it. Because I just think gold coins are cool, and I would totally be into it. But it's like the lack of a physical anything at all that you can never really touch, and you can just lose by just losing power or something, losing a piece of paper with a number on it.
It might be related.
It's still a lot
the
better
gold
than the
standard.
Federal Reserve banking system
Yeah.
in my book.
But there's the whole the idea of tying the gold to it. I mean, this is somebody walked up to me. He was a janitor, and he was very excited. He was like, "We're going to be able to tie gold to this cryptocurrency. You need to get as much as you can." And I was like, "All right, I'll get a couple." I listened to a janitor, not my best friend. I would listen to a random janitor.
I
I was a janitor.
I think you get better advice from those people than individuals like Jim Cramer, who have been absolutely freaking wrong more than they have been right.
But when he's wrong,
Yeah.
we're right. So if you invest in the opposite,
Exactly.
is the saying.
The idea of tying gold to a crypto
have
is
you heard of
interesting. I've never heard of it before. Do you know how it would work?
No, but I mean, there was like you would just tie I don't know. I would think it might be with XRP, which I have no idea. I don't know anything about any of this. It was one of those 3-letter
So
things.
go on. Spend 30 minutes telling us about it now.
No, damn it.
Part of the challenge is the money. Who has the gold? Because if you buy gold, but someone else is holding it for you, technically they have the gold, even though you are the owner.
Because you
If-
could tie it to a physical object. I don't know. We should
know.
talk about this before
Maybe-
I bring something up, and then I
yeah,
can Google it.
because the
Toby
value,
Turner, expert in crypto, is going to be doing a master class on Rumble in just a little bit here. As of course, we have a Rumble rant by a Bulldozer74 that we're going to have to wait to read on Rumble. I absolutely agree with you, Bulldozer. Amazing Rumble rant, but it's a little bit too spicy to mention here on YouTube. I might call Clint and tell him your super chat personally because I think it's so freaking great. And I appreciate you, Bulldozer74. As of course, in other news today, Donald Trump also came out and said that a TikTok ban would, quote, empower Meta, slamming Facebook as, quote, the enemy of the people. Now, Facebook did play a very crucial role in the last presidential election, where a lot of people are saying they helped fortify the election for the Democrats, as of course they had major voter turnout areas in specifically Democratic areas, spending hundreds of millions of dollars making sure that people who are predominantly Democrats voted. This is the fortification. This is why some people believe the Democrats actually rigged the game, but, quote, won fairly through, of course, the Zuckerbucks that were actually not allowed here in Florida, a state that went overwhelmingly red compared to all the other states that, of course, had record turnout from Democratic voters. So will banning it empower Facebook? I don't know. I don't think so. Facebook isn't really into those shorts. Instagram Reels, I guess you could make an argument about that, but YouTube also is trying to get into shorts, as of course everyone has ADD now. Everyone can't pay attention for more than 15 seconds. But what do you guys make of Trump's comments here, specifically saying we're just going to keep TikTok because they're a lot better. The Chinese company that works with the Chinese government is a lot better than the American company.
It'll go in some kind of direction.
Than the American company tied to the CIA and the intelligence agencies here inside of the United
When
States.
Facebook was early on, or during the Obama time, when he was running the 2007, 2008 time, it was said that Obama won because of Facebook and got out the message longer. And then Trump comes along, and then it's even more because then they got more of the algorithms. And then the 2020 is just whatever party mastered it the most. And that's probably what it is. It's probably the newest technology. Before, what would they do? Go in the middle of town, the presidents, and just stand on a stump and give a speech.
No,
And
train
then-
rides. What they used to do
Yeah,
is they used to
trains,
literally
yep.
get into trains and then on the back of trains literally make speeches at every single train stop.
Yep.
That's how they used to
Wow.
campaign.
That sounds more fun.
Now,
Yeah, Ulysses S.
they-
Grant had
Yep.
the Wild Wild West thing, and they move around, and then turn into radio. So new technology comes, and then that political time is all over that. And then I remember hearing when JFK and Richard Nixon were competing against each other, the people who listen on the radio, the masses, thought that Nixon won. But the people that watched on TV for the first time on debate, they're like, oh no, JFK won because he was more
handsome.
Yes,
He
I
had
didn't
the
say
hair.
either, but
He,
he
you know,
looked a lot better. Nixon was always wiping his face.
He was sweaty and he looked
yeah.
uncomfortable, and the visuals of it really did make an impact
Yeah.
on why a lot of people
And it's
believe
on our
JFK
mind.
actually
It's-
won.
It's psychology, I'm sure. I remember her early on that Facebook was hiring tons of psychologists to just figure out how long. I'm sure Ian knows this with minds, but like how long people will stay on a certain image, the scroll, the amount of time, the attention span, like you said, Luke. It's
Witchcraft, technological witchcraft.
It is, and
Employed
whoever can
by-
wield the
Yeah.
wand or the
sword
ring,
of.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, but they did. Yeah, they did psychological studies specifically saying how big social media companies can swing elections. And it's not that they can't, they are. And I think they absolutely have been doing this. Alphabet has been doing this. Google has been doing this. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of them were overwhelmingly saying, vote for the Democrats. Here's in your algorithm feed. Look how great the Democrats are. Look how great Joe Biden is in his basement. He's calm. He's cool, collected. No mean tweets here, guys. It's totally worth it. If we just elect this guy, we'll go back to normal. We'll have more decorum. And now we have Bidenomics and the Build Back Better Great Reset policies that are absolutely wrecking havoc and destroying every single American.
I wish
Sorry.
I experienced that. I've never really experienced any of the lockdowns or anything because I was advised by some, I don't know, some person that I worked for a little while, and they were like, "Yeah, you should probably get out of LA now. Something weird's gonna happen." And I was like, okay. So then I left and went. They were like, go to Florida. And I was like, you sound crazy. They said some crazy, weird sounding stuff. Yeah, maybe it all came out sort of to be true. But and I went to Florida for a year, and I was just kind of hanging out. And then I was like, that was actually a good idea. Good way to invest my time. Got to talk about any of this?
Yeah, did you?
No.
That's somebody
We
told me
can't-
about it. You took a risk, and which makes sense. And
I just listened. It was a crazy person. That's just the thing. Is like, there's always going to be some crazy person saying something, and maybe it's true. Right now, it's the media. It's like,
so just
aliens.
listen
are
to your crazy
everywhere.
person one time out of 10.
Only
And
one-
then-
yeah.
yeah. 9 other times.
That investment, the value of my lack of being locked down went up. 100x. All right.
Listen, if they're foaming at the mouth and they're underneath the bridge and they're homeless, they're probably a lot more coherent than a lot of the other political commentators on the corporate media that are there to sell you lies.
Yeah, they touch grass
if,
more.
if I had a decision, who am I going to trust? The crazy foaming guy with rabies underneath the bridge that's homeless, or Anderson Cooper? I'm going with the guy with the rabies, okay? Because that guy, at least, there's no motive to screw me over.
some life experience.
Yeah, that's
He's probably
good.
honest.
Yeah, way more honest than Anderson Cooper and all the horrible stuff that he's been telling people and all the lies he's been selling to the American
away.
public. But social media does matter, and it plays a huge, significant role. And I really do believe they're going to be fortifying this election just like they did last one. And this is why I think Joe Biden is going to be running, and I think Joe Biden is going to win the presidency in this presidential election.
Really?
Because not much has changed. Absolutely.
Thank you. Jeez.
The problem with this TikTok ban, I read a little bit of the bill, and I just read enough to know that it's messed up. It gives the president the authority to declare that some organization is working with foreign agents. So, like, if Chris Pavlovsky at Rumble, like, had a phone call with some Russian guy who happens to have a cousin in the KGB, Biden could be like, all right, we're shutting down Rumble. Chris Pavlovsky's the CEO of Rumble. He could use this stupid law that they ramrodded through the House and shut down Rumble tomorrow. With
So
this.
they set the template
really?
for the bad evil one, and then they're like, let's use that plan.
Everybody can get behind
They make
TikTok.
it- they make it about
too much twerking.
X,
No
Twitter,
one wants
Rumble.
to see that.
Yeah. Pisses them off.
Particularly
Yeah,
X
that
and
makes
Rumble,
sense.
I think, are vulnerable because if they want to fortify and go after a social network, and they're able to because they can say that they're working with a foreign agent. I mean, it is really loose language. It starts off real specific about TikTok and ByteDance, the company that owns them, and then it gets real vague and vulnerable, like open about what the president can do with no. I mean, this Congression. It should always go through Congress. If you're going to go the distance and ban a social network from the states, that's got to go through Congress. That's a huge deal.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the San Bernardino terrorist a couple of years ago, or not too, whatever it was, when the iPhone was getting really popular, and the FBI says, "Oh, we need access to his iPhone. We know he has an iPhone. Give us access, backdoor access." And Apple was like, "No, because then we'd have to give you to everything." And then I didn't hear anything about that for years. And then then we find out Twitter files. Oh, these 3-letter agencies had their own username and password to come in and check out all the behind the
ABC,
scenes.
NBC, CBS.
Yeah, all
We
those
know.
ones too. Yeah.
We know.
So it's just like it's so strange to wonder who's government and who's not. Back in the day, that you'd have a company, and so a person could only be at that company. They couldn't also be working for the FBI, NSA, whatever. But nowadays, and you're working from home, it's like, oh, I'm going to log into my FBI computer. I'm going to log into my Twitter. I'm just making these things up. But like you can see scenarios where, the same person can be in multiple places at once thanks to technology. And it's like, oh, and now they're working for this Chinese company as well. So conflict of interest everywhere at all times, all at once.
Yeah, I think this statement by Donald Trump is very big because essentially he's saying, I believe the Chinese more than I believe the domestic intelligence agencies that are pulling the strings at Facebook. Because if you look at these big tech social media companies, all of them are involved with the intel agencies, the CIA, the FBI, all of them. Just go to them and say, you're going to do this, you're going to ban these people, you're going to demonetize these people, you're going to downrank this, and we're going to be showing you this. And Trump essentially in his speech here with his statement saying, I'm not going to ban frickin' TikTok because it's going to help the feds here domestically is pretty eye-opening. As, of course, the social media wars are very important wars that are happening right now for essential key ideas of free speech and liberty in this country. There's a lot at stake for these big tech social media wars. And let's just be honest here. On one side, you have Amazon, you have Google, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have WhatsApp facing down against Rumble and Twitter, and now Rumble Cloud that just announced their own cloud service, which I think is pretty cool as well. But even when it comes to things like Twitter, things are not all hunky-dory, as Donald Trump came out and said that he may not even get Elon Musk's support because, quote, they disagree on electric cars. This during a CNBC interview where he backed using Bitcoin and said that he would introduce trade tariffs to, quote, stop wars. So this was a major interview that he gave to CNBC, but him coming out and saying, Elon doesn't like me because I don't agree with him on electric cars. As even a couple days ago, we got news reports of Donald Trump allegedly asking Elon Musk for money. Elon Musk came out after the media published stories about this and said that he's not going to be financing either side here. I think he's trying to look very kind of unbiased, but let's just be honest here. The other social media companies, they're really biased, and they, of course, are, in my opinion, launching larger psychological wars against the American people to have them be better obedient, more disorganized, more disheveled, more downtrodden slaves. Essentially, Democrats and woke people. So what do you guys make of this larger kind of social media war, and how do you see it playing out through this election cycle? Because it's clear the other side has one guy that they want to become the next president of the United States. They support him in very underhanded ways. Elon Musk is coming out saying, I'm not going to support this guy.
I'm
I don't
having a
want
little
to.
deja vu. Like, I feel like I've seen this movie before, about 4 years ago. Like, everything was on top. The economy's doing amazing. Trump's on top of everything. It's doing great. And then a lot of it crashing down. So he's the primary right now. Everyone else is dipping out. And now it's just a moment when he's tripping over his feet.
Maybe freedom of speech was a mistake.
No, it wasn't, Toby.
Okay,
Stop with
okay.
your communistic ways.
There's the door.
Yes. We're going to have Atlas attack you. And we got tasers, too, so you better be careful.
I was going to say the Second Amendment also.
But we believe in that here.
I'm just playing.
No, Drew, you're right.
No,
Yeah.
Donald Trump is. It's tough because
especially
you
with
see
his
it on Twitter where you have people that way support Trump, some people that I'm gonna vote for him, whatever. I believe 50% of what he says, the rest is garbage, and then there's there's these 3 things that he's really messing up on, but those are super important.
It's
Free
interesting.
speech, medical stuff, whatever, and that's just like it's just stopping him in his tracks. It's like, don't trip over your own feet. Come on, just keep running.
No, I absolutely agree, especially with the medical stuff that we can't talk about here. But if you do compare him between Joe Biden, there's a big difference. And it's a very stark difference. It's such a difference that people are saying, I'll excuse a lot of the stuff that Trump is doing. I'll forgive him. I don't care. Just anything but Biden. And we have the parallel of the lesser of two evils. And we've always kind of had these larger decisions. Some people would argue, hey, between Biden and Trump, there's a big difference between the evils. And I would kind of understand that point, especially when it comes to the larger kind of trade policies, the tariff policies, the policies that affect Americans, especially when it comes to energy policies, especially when it comes to the U.S. economy. There's a big stark difference there, as I think a lot of very powerful individuals are using Joe Biden as the perfect kind of fleshlight puppet in order to ram through some of the most
this
horrible.
is a classy show.
This is.
Oh, it must be a different thing than I'm thinking of,
Yes,
which
yes.
I've never actually heard of
It's a
before.
different
Yeah.
I just
It's a family-friendly one, and keep your dirty mind out of this conversation, Toby. As really some of the things that
There's still time. Like, we're early on
Yeah.
when we just have, two elderly octogenarian candidates that are hanging around. But there's months. And the way the news cycle is now, it's not even 24-hour news cycle. Like, it's constant because we're all on social media. We're all in the who even watches like cable TV anymore? Because we can get it on our phone, which now I do it. Like, I watch YouTube Rumble on my TV. Like, it has the apps, and I just turn my controller, and it goes right to YouTube. And I'm not connected to the ABCs. Now I did notice they're starting to leak into HBO Max and Netflix and stuff like this. HBO Max is one usually where I'm at. They're like, hey, watch sports, and now watch Anderson Cooper, and I'm like, no, thank you, Deadwood. And so it's just like there's so much more time left. And people talk about the October surprise. There's probably just going to be surprises constantly in the next however many months.
If you want a show to watch, speaking of Deadwood, just one real quick. Resident Alien season 1, amazing. And then season 2 starts, and then what I like about it is that they can somehow manage to pack every aspect of feminism into kind of the first episode, and then right away you just know that's going to be really good too. I haven't finished watching it yet. I can't wait. I will. But sorry, go on.
Politics.
Yeah, with
I shouldn't talk about TV
all
shows.
day, but
Sorry, my bad.
The thing about the social media networks, I don't know if Facebook and Google got so big they got absorbed into the global like economic behemoth of this BlackRock thing, and now they're just kind of going along with it. But I was telling Andrew Meyer at the store, what I think is happening is there's this like transition of global governance now, and that the American Constitution, like it's up to whether or not this new global government is going to be based on American constitutionalism is up to us. And we're in the transition right now. And a lot of people in the United States don't seem to care. They're just kind of like getting paid. They're going along with the easy path.
This is their conversation at Costco. They're just like like loudly.
Truly.
Global
Should
constitution.
have recorded that. Should have live streamed
And
that
all these
conversation.
people, yeah, right. Well, yeah, we should have next
Yeah,
time.
that was a good convo. So is it, I don't know how I'd wrap this in, but like, is Facebook, I mean, the ability to swing an election with social media is no doubt. And there's no doubt that if someone decides to feature a video and give it 600 or 60 million
little
views
weird.
or 6 million views,
Yeah.
and the video is
Or
pro
just cut
candidate,
off a channel entirely. Just whenever you
or
want.
even just
Well,
downrank it.
transparency is the thing, though. They're like, okay, this is how we go about it. Like same with ballot harvesting. It's like, oh yeah, that's just the thing that Democrats did because they have it in dense areas and stuff like that. Be like, okay, is that the new rules of the monopoly that we're playing now? Now everybody gets to do it. So like, release the code, right? Free
Yeah,
code.
that's-
It's like, okay, fine. If we're all gonna play by these crazy social media, manipulation, we're not gonna show this guy, or we're gonna show the bad stuff of this one, but the good stuff of this one to these certain people. While we're waiting on, Nevada or Arizona, we're just gonna flood them with, bad stuff for the one that they want to vote for. And then it just gets caught up in the courts. So that's what I think is going to happen. My thing is like, because I remember Hillary Clinton saying during the 2020 time where she says, don't secede. Just keep going with it. Just keep fighting it. Legal, keep counting, stuff like that. She's like, I'm paraphrasing, but she's like, my mistake was you just give up, But now then in 2020, we see the 3 a.m., ballot stuff and shenanigans that who knows what was what, but it wasn't transparent.
Yeah, who knows
It
what
wasn't
just tell us what the
transparent,
rules
but
are.
I think the Zucker bucks, I think the ballot harvesting, I think the mail-in ballots really made the difference here. And,
Perfect storm.
And they rigged the system, but they won fairly. I think that's a fair assessment to make here. As of course, there were a lot of shenanigans. They did a lot of underhanded things, but I think Donald Trump also didn't do himself a lot of favors as well. And,
Well, there's the media,
again, there's a lot
legal.
of things. There's a lot of things we could be critical of Trump, especially when it comes to Assange, especially when it comes to the medical issues, especially when it comes to spending a lot of money that we didn't have. But I think one of the starkest differences between him and Biden is definitely foreign policy. As right now, what Donald Trump is saying is absolutely critically important. As the Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, came out and said Trump's in-depth plan to end the war in Ukraine is that he won't, quote, give them a penny, describing a situation from private conversations that he had with Donald Trump, essentially saying he's going to be the one that is going to end this very dangerous foreign policy objective of the United States to try to destabilize Russia. He is going to be ending that proxy war by not financing it and making Europe finance it, which they, of course, never will. As, of course, the European countries like to talk a lot of smack, but when it comes to putting their money where their mouth is, especially when it comes to NATO, they don't really do that. Trump is one of the few presidents who is standing outside of the establishment, standing outside of the corporate media, standing outside of the military-industrial complex and other neoconservatives like Nikki Haley, and is saying, no, like, stop the war. The war's bad. And it's a simple message, but it's a message that resonates with a lot of people to the point where they're saying, hey, I'll forgive him for all this other stuff as long as he stops essentially a larger threat that puts all of civilization in question if it's going to, of course, survive.
And he has precedent for this. He's a business
It'll
guy.
survive. We'll be all right.
Yeah, he's like, okay, we're not going to pay anymore. Just like the Paris Climate Accords, he knows more than anybody about business. If you want something to stop, you stop funding it. And just like any government, and the saying goes is like, a government temporary program is more longevity, more immortal than anything else on Earth. It's just like once you start it and you keep funding it and you keep people in those positions that are like basically unfireable, it lasts forever. But yeah, and I didn't think that's the appeal for Trump a lot. Is that like, yeah, send the bull into the China shop, disrupt everything, stop paying for stuff. How many billions have we paid into Ukraine, into this border battle that we're not securing our own border?
400?
And then the next question is, how much more are we going to put into it? How many more billions? How much more is the deficit and then the overall debt going to keep going up? And for why?
Did you know if you put $1,000 into Shiba and it went up 100 million%, you'd be trillion.
Don't ask me.
Millions is a trillion, so $1 million. It went up 100 billion%. So that person could have funded Ukraine by himself. Where are you at? What is he doing? Do you need all that money, maniac? He's going, I got all the Shiba.
So you're saying
I think the Ukrainian oligarchs
Bitcoin.
already have enough money. Yeah, I think that there's already been a lot of Bitcoin transactions going through Ukraine, especially with Sam Bankman-Fried and
Sounds
the
boring.
Ukrainian bank that, of course, were tied into all the money that was moving in and out of that place.
Out of FTX?
Yep.
Is it documented that it went to Ukraine?
They had an official partnership with the Ukrainian bank. And this is
political
why
parties during 2020.
Yep. And
But we gotta
the
get more.
Republicans and the Democrats
Yes.
that
They
were
were playing
laundering a
both
crap ton of
sides.
money. And a lot of people were saying that this is the way that the intel agencies were kind of laundering and moving all of their money in and out of the United States
it's
to
clean,
Ukraine,
to make
from
it
Ukraine
clean.
back to the politicians, and everyone was kind of washing their hands here and being enriched by the larger financial rewards that they were kind of giving themselves through your tax
While
dollars.
us plebs are told to just keep working and, get
Yeah.
that pension at
So we can
65.
pay for, get enough money to pay for the Mark of the Beast. How much is that now, by the way?
What does that run?
$69.99.
I think it pays itself off.
Yeah, the mark of the beast.
666, I
Something
think,
like
plus shipping
that.
and handling, right?
Well, yeah, we're told all these things to be like,
Well,
okay.
according to
handling is pretty
GG33,
rough.
according to GG33, 666 actually is not as nefarious as it seems. It's actually supposed to be like the family unit. So like backwards, like we're making the
That
family
sounds
seem
some
like a bad
backwards devil
thing.
talk.
Wait, so it's a
basically
psyop?
have more kids.
Are you serious?
Steph has been
We gotta read
watching
about
a
this.
lot of GG33 videos. We got to get him back on.
GG33.
He was on the podcast before, and
watch
I
that.
think he would be great to come back. I know Steph would really like that.
Guys, I don't know if you noticed, but 666 is really not all that bad. People give it a bad name like it's the number of an evil monster.
I'm like, who? David, get out of here.
Like, guys, just saying, it's
it's like
three numbers.
It was like a communist psyop. Like it maybe not even communist, but this is like ancient psyop. If they say 666 is bad, that's like old biblical stuff, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's like 10,000 years of bad data.
Beware, I guess, is what you're
It's-
supposed to do.
it's-
beware.
Beware.
I think you're supposed to beware.
6 is a powerful number.
In other news related to the topic that we were actually discussing, we have this video from the Vatican. That, of course, being Volodymyr Zelensky getting his hand slapped away in a fake AI video by the Pope, who also recently came out and said that Ukraine should surrender. He's calling for the end of the war. And the Pope, again, he's known as the woke Pope. He's known as saying a lot of the establishment talking points. This is again, the same Pope that works with the Rothschilds revisioning capitalism. So for him to even come out and to say, hey, this war should be over now is a major marker, since it shows a lot of establishment figures are even saying, hey, stop with the bloodshed, stop with the war, as we got some really crazy videos coming from Ukraine. This one from border guards that recently caught 34 men that were conscription age attempting to flee the country. As of course, there's reports of them paying 10,000 euros to escape the meat grinder that is described described as the Ukrainian war that, of course, has ruined an entire generation of young men. This video here, I mean, really does highlight a situation that does go up against the corporate media talking points of the Ukrainians saying that they want to fight this war. This is what the media says. The Ukrainians really want this war. They really want to fight this war. Just give them all the money. They'll defeat these dirty, really bad Russians if we just give them the chance to do it. Videos like this highlight a totally different situation where, of course, there are a lot of different things at play here, including the fact that a lot of rich people, a lot of the sons and daughters of the oligarchs, they don't get put to the front lines. They don't get drafted. They don't get conscripted. People are bought off. Politicians, of course, take a bunch of bribes. And we're left with a situation where a lot of young men who don't want to be in the country, who don't want to fight for this war, are saying enough is enough. They're trying to flee. A lot of them are being caught here. And it's a very desperate situation that the country of Ukraine is in, as, of course, they lack significant manpower in this larger proxy conflict. And the war is not looking good for them, and I do not see them going forward in any kind of way that is advantageous for them.
You're
I don't
saying
know
they're
how
not
you
going
guys
to hit the 20-year mark and beat the war on terror? I thought they were going for that prize. I just don't know how long you can keep people, soldiers, you said the conscripted age, motivated to keep doing this back and forth.
Exactly.
They know the terrain. They know what's going on. They know their adversary. I assume they do. And it's just like, oh, we're just going to keep going because for what reason?
Right. Well, I was going to say, just on the side of the oligarchs, it's possible that their children they have the driveways are so long, that's why they haven't actually made it out to war yet.
They got lost.
I mean, no one's really.
Well, they're
talking
waiting for
about it.
Jeremy Renner to come
Very
with
long time.
snowmobile, but he had an incident.
Whoever they have, whoever, it wouldn't be him. He's over here. Is he?
Good guy. Yeah, Jeremy Renner.
Okay.
Hawkeye.
Mike Cernovich had a really good, interesting post about this. He said, Lex Freeman and others push the military-industrial complex propaganda that Ukraine wants to fight. The men don't. 100,000 left on day one, and others are being rounded up. No discussion in good faith can occur unless people live in the world of objective facts. Retweeting this video of the men who were caught in a van here trying to escape here. Probably poor men that didn't have enough money to bribe the military officials from being conscripted. And this is a sad reality because these men are literally going to be drafted and probably going to be sent to the front lines now, if not put in jail. A horrible thing that I wouldn't wish on anyone, as of course even American citizens like Gonzalo Lira have died in Ukrainian custody. And it's something that I think we don't talk about enough. His life mattered. And the fact that the Ukrainian government could get away with arresting, prosecuting, and essentially putting an American citizen to death by their harsh treatment of him should be something that we should remember, that we should talk about here. And sadly, we do not at all.
Well, a lot of stuff relates to our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, the rules that we put on the government, or that our founding fathers said, hey, you're not going to mess with the citizens on these things. And then every year, probably every day, we get more laws that are on us, either through precedent in the judicial system or tax code. Anybody read that? I made that one of my unreachable New Year's Eve goals, or New Year's goals, was to read the whole tax code.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you read all of it?
Not yet. I'm not to that one yet. My first one was to arm wrestle Gina Carano, and I got to do that about a month ago.
Who won? Who won? You or Gina?
I told her 2 rules. Don't let me win and make it look good. And it went pretty well.
So you're saying you're lost?
She crushed me. Yeah.
I was just saying, can you have AI? I know that this is probably crazy sounding, but can AI just do your taxes now? Because, it's like they already kind of know what you owe, but you have to take these pieces of paper together that you get sent in the mail that tell you what you made.
Trust
and
me,
then you
Steph
put it
already
together.
probably tried doing that, and no,
she
I don't
did
think
that for you. I
AI.
guess
I
we'll
don't
see
think.
how
I
that
don't think
works.
AI could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just
It's
amazed
going
by
to be all biased.
There's
The taxes.
countries-
The AI is going to make Zelensky and Ukraine a deductible dependent for me here, and
child
I'm
tax-
going to get audited.
Zelensky child tax credit. I'm going to coin it right there. Yeah, just hashtag Zelensky child tax credit. No, it's so amazing to me amazing in a bad way, that there's so many countries that are currently going on that don't have anything like the Constitution. Some have variations. U.S. is the one with the most, call it freedom, liberty, what have you. And people are trying to rip it apart. Courts whatever companies, the current government and whatever agency, they're like, oh, we'll just try to, do this. And we'll see if they fight back.
Right.
And then you have to fight it through each level of the court system. And the Supreme Court only hears cases based on the Constitution. And so, but the amount of time it takes to get all the way up there. Fortunately, Trump's one in Colorado got there pretty quick. And that.
I was just going to add one thing. I mean, that's a good point, but I was just going to say one thing just on the side of the billionaires. You wouldn't necessarily want people to speak about what you're doing on whatever island you have to be on because, it causes a lot of problems. What's up? Like, let's say you're skiing or something. It's none of anybody's business if you're skiing, if you're snowboarding. You don't want people to talk about it, and so you try to take it out of the Constitution, whatever amendment that is. One of the first top 5, I think. Probably remove the first couple if you could.
Yeah, 10
I would
Bill of
get rid of
Rights.
those. Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of the Josie Redhead Libertarian, we're
Yeah.
going to be doing a podcast,
nice.
Twitter Space,
Oh, she's
in a
awesome.
couple
I
weeks.
just met her, yeah.
Yep. I think
She's
gonna be
on
soon.
tomorrow, actually.
Okay,
and then
awesome.
we got Kayvon from Patrick Bet David, PBD, coming on this Wednesday. I think I think we're doing 6 p.m. Eastern. Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert might be coming on as well. I think. I don't know. We're still figuring everything out. So this week's going to be jam packed. We got
that's
way
a
too
lot
many
of-
people staying
There
in
you
these
go.
guest
A
rooms.
lot of big people.
Toby being one of them.
PBD's going to be staying in my room.
And
all the more
PBD
reason the
is like
Constitution
down the street
needs to
from
be
us here.
maintained.
Ian's in the guest room, and Drew wanted to be in the guest room too, but these vagabonds
I'm
took
like,
it
is there
before
bunk
you.
beds?
So
There'd be plenty of room for
I
activities.
was thinking about
All
buying
the
a bunk
windows are
bed.
bulletproof.
I was literally thinking about buying bunk beds.
That would be
It might be
adorable.
worthwhile.
There you go. It'll be masculine. It'll be the most masculine.
Send in rumble rants for bunk beds if you want.
Yeah.
We might do we might do a bunk bed
Probably sleep on that.
fundraiser on what, the table? You want people to sleep on the table?
couch where Atlas is laying.
Yeah, but it's a pretty small couch there.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
not a
that's
big
Atlas's
couch. Atlas
couch.
is
Atlas
sleeping on
holds
there.
up
Where's
that
Atlas?
dog.
Where's Atlas going to sleep? You're going to take Atlas's bed, Ian?
On the cold,
Ian
cold
Crossland,
floor.
how dare you
Wherever she
take
likes
away
it.
the co-host,
Do you have
the
a
real
puppy cam or
co-host's
no?
bed?
There's
We
no
do
puppy
not. We
cam.
don't have a
Okay.
budget for a puppy cam.
My bad. I didn't mean to bring that up. Sensitive subject.
But yes, very sensitive,
know what?
Toby. We don't appreciate this.
Sorry.
Toby,
It's just a cute puppy.
Toby is sleeping
cute
on the
puppy.
Facebook Marketplace futon. How's the Facebook Marketplace futon?
It feels like you're sleeping on like a Wolverine's skeleton
Yes.
with a little tiny bit of padding.
very
Not enough that
specific.
You notice?
That's the second
Adamantium.
guest room that we have
Yeah.
here.
Feel it,
Adamantium bed.
Yeah, Adam's aunt.
And,
It's like sleeping on Adam's aunt.
An adamantium bed, he's saying.
That's what I
We got the best here on the best political show here. As of course, we're going to be doing a fundraiser soon for Seamus's new liver. We'll tell you more about that in a little bit.
Pray for Seamus.
Yeah, he's pretty. Seamus. The guy can't put the bottle down. I don't know what's wrong with the guy, but that's we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll be there to make sure
it's
that
the same bottle,
Seamus's
and
new
it's
liver
empty.
gets financed in one way or another. That's
So
a
what
sneak,
you're
a
saying
sneak
is
peek.
protect the Constitution.
Well, that's what I
and
want to
Bill
say
of
because we're going to
Rights.
go to Rumble
the
soon. I
rights.
want to kind of tap this off for the YouTube audience too, because you brought up like the cancel the First Amendment as jokes a couple times, and you were like really concerned about I'm desperately
allowed
concerned
to
about the
say all
Constitution.
this stuff
yeah.
I said.
Well, the thing is, I think that literally de facto the First Amendment has been smashed because of these social networks are able to turn your voice down if they don't like it. Some random capitalist can just shut your
Right.
voice access off.
Freedom of speech, but your vocal cords just won't function
Correct.
anymore.
And it's kind of like having free speech but not knowing language. Like
Right.
if the government was like, we're just not going to teach these people how to read and write, we're not going to teach them all the words, but we'll say that they get free speech in their society.
Yeah,
Though.
you could say you're gibberish.
Yeah, but that's
a
kind of
good
like
point.
not knowing the
All
code.
right, for more gibberish and for people eating each other, real life cases of cannibalism reports coming from Haiti. We're going to be talking about that, not the fun way, Toby. Get your head out of the gutter and stop looking at the boobs above my head. Focus. Gosh darn it, Toby. You're not going to be invited back
was
here.
not thinking of the
You
good
son
way.
of a gun.
By the way, I
Yes.
don't even know which way would be the good way.
There's a
Right
man.
when we started,
there's-
I gave the sheet to Toby. I'm like, hey, read this. He's like, no, I got
It's
it. I'm
in
good.
English.
There's
What are you doing with it?
there's Freemason individuals named Barbecue that literally are being accused now of human cannibalism. We'll talk about that, plus some very interesting Trump statements, all coming up on rumble.com/wearechange. You can find us right now when you just go to rumble.com. So if you haven't taken the chance to do this right now. Get your fingers, get them on the keyboard, and just type in rumble.com. We are on the front page, featured here in Picks, or just go to rumble.com/We Are Change, where we will exclusively continue the conversation there and nowhere else. Join the conversation. We're going to be taking callers in about 30 minutes. Sign up to LukeUnfiltered.com. Get on the Telegram channel. Let us know you want to call in, and you could be a part of the conversation in about 30 minutes, as we're going to be getting into a lot of very different issues that are not so family friendly, that are not allowed here on YouTube, but will be allowed on Rumble. As we move over to Rumble, Drew, where can people find more of your work, and where can they follow you?
Yep, mainly I'm on Twitter, X, so at Drew Outstanding in Field on Twitter. I host spaces, talk about anything I can. A lot of medical things, tyranny stuff that happened in the last couple of years. I talk about that on Twitter. On YouTube, it's more about my adaptive sports. I'm healing from a major injury, so I decided to get off the couch and go to YouTube and just film myself doing adaptive snowboarding, adaptive skiing, scuba diving. I'm going to test my limits and put it out there. So I show it on YouTube and I speak it on Twitter. Let's go.
Nice. Toby, really quick, where can people find you?
It's way cooler than anything.
Yeah, you don't do anything as cool as
Not
Drew.
at all.
Yeah,
but
you just like dance around in your like clicky shoes.
yeah, mostly just roll around. But it's
You don't even roll around. You're just like click.
I do roll
click,
around. What are you
click,
talking about? I can't,
click.
like, I
You
can't
don't roll.
No, I
You
do.
don't roll on
I
those
do.
things. You
It
just
makes
click
me
around
feel
here,
like
dude.
I'm
It's
absolutely
annoying.
ridiculous.
Trying to get work done, and all
Hey, you're funnier than I am.
I might get into some
Stop
adaptive
it.
snowboarding though. But yeah, just YouTube / Tobuscus or Toby Gay, whatever.
You forgot your last name?
Oh yeah, no, I don't have a last name, not yet. But it's mostly video game, whatever. Who cares?
Ian, free of the Tim Pool man. Tell us, where can we find you?
Well, firstly, I want to give a special shout out to Toby Turner, who
Wow.
got rammed by Luke in the middle of that outro. Nice job, Toby. Toby Turner, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we kind of knew each other. Well, we like passed
You
by each
guys
other in
did not know each other.
2008. No.
You guys never met.
Pretty good friends.
We knew
you'd
a
say.
bunch of the same people in 2007, 8, 9 YouTube era in LA. So we'll talk later about it.
You wouldn't understand.
You can find me at Ian Crossland.
a while.
Yeah, we know things. We were there for the beginning of. You were talking about multi-channel marketing, all the whole how it all got started,
Oh,
man.
God,
Toby was there. We were there.
Just end this.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Talk to me.
Steph We Are Change on Insta and Steph WRC on